Go YouTube. Let's go.
Are you on live on YouTube? Giddy up. I don't think I've ever done a live on YouTube.
No, neither have I. So we'll just see how we go.
That is epic.
Oh, let's not say anything too quickly after Facebook. We might go. Oh, we're on. We're on.
Let's go YouTube. Let's go. Are you on live on YouTube? Giddy up. I don't think I've ever done a live on YouTube.
No, neither have I. So we'll just see how we go. I might just mute
myself.
It's good hearing the same conversation again, isn't it? All right. Let's share that around.
Giddy up.
It's got this. I just posted it. I'm about to post it in the group, and it's got me this shit-eating grin on my face. So I look like I'm
probably me pissing myself laughing too.
All right, let me get YouTube up here so I can see any comments. If I can figure that out.
Why were people making a comment already?
Oh yeah, I can keep it on there, but then I can't talk to you, and that's delayed. That's really weird.
That is really weird.
Yeah. Oh, we've done well. It's so techie today.
You are, mate. This is like sensational.
Righto.
Should we tell them right up front to cut to like 5 minutes in so people are starting to talk?
Yeah, we'll have to put that on there, eh?
Yeah.
Righto, let's do it, Cheese. Let me find where your face is on this thing so I can actually talk with you. There you go.
I'm here. I haven't run away yet.
See how that goes. Sweet as. Cheese. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of The Vibe. The Vibe was a little bit off there to get things going there. But that's okay. We're up and running now. And in these times, it's just, you just got to keep having a crack and keep turning up. So welcome, mate. Great to have you here. Your episode number 3. We had Kyla last night, and we had my dulcet tones the first evening by myself. So, couldn't get any worse than the first night. So round 3 should be pretty good with you. You're just what I love about Cheese, as his mates call him. So I'd like to think we're mates these days. He's just a good bloke. He's got all the big words. He's got all the knowledge, but he doesn't fluff his words. He doesn't. It doesn't go all wanky and over the top of your head. He just you just nail it. How you can just speak eloquently, but still speak to the Aussie guy, particularly me. And you're just a knockabout kind of bloke, but you also know some cool shit. You've had an epic journey, and you have some great insights. You're quite aware and in tune, if you like, whatever. You've got the vibe happening, I suppose. I just love dropping the castle. I'll have to work on some crackerjack quotes for tomorrow night.
Epic.
Mate, welcome. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that exceptionally kind and humbling introduction.
Yeah, we probably should work on that for future guests, but that's okay. Well, I think that personified you. Epicness personified. Hashtag that.
Hashtag epic personified.
You're down Byron Bay way, and you just mentioned the toilet paper crisis. Sit down there, and I thought that was a good conversation to start proceedings this evening. I thought there was some good stuff coming out of that as I was trying to figure out Facebook and YouTube live here. Should we go from there? You're a bit surprised that the toilet crisis has hit the enlightened space of Byron Bay's hinterland.
The enlightened space of Byron Bay hinterland. Yeah. There's a lot of spiritual refugees here as well too. So people who call themselves enlightened yet act predominantly in fear. So and that's I was having a conversation with my mum today, and she goes, "No, I'm not buying into the fear, but I've got to go and buy the toilet paper." I said, "I don't understand." She says, "Well, I might run out." I said, "So you're buying into the fear?" She's, "No, I'm not." So this cascade, it's like consent. People don't understand when they're consenting to things anymore. It's an unconscious consent, unconscious consent. And it's like if I'm going to go out and quickly grab all the pasta and the food and everything like that, and quickly stock up, then I'm buying into that whole fear. Now, coronavirus is what it is. I haven't seen it, and I don't have it. But what I do see running the streets at the moment is incredible fear, which actually is more debilitating to your immune system than most things. So it's this vicious cycle, and we're living in a space at the moment which, if we're constantly faced by fear. I was sitting. My girls don't go to school. I call it life school. They by request. So. They do that from home. So I'm laughing at all this homeschooling. Like homeschooling is obviously becoming a new trend for everyone because schools are closing down, and I'm having a bit of a chuckle about that. But I was in the local primary school where Penny goes to see a music teacher, and so I'm sitting in the car park, and I'm watching mums and dads come and pick their kids up just after school, and there's so much love there, and because they haven't seen them for the day, and there's this cuddles and stuff like that. And then there's so much fear there because it's like, what happens here? What do we do here? What's happening with this? And I was watching just people not able to respond to that because as a society, we've become quite emotionally illiterate. And so you can see this, it was a beautiful juxtaposition of, I just had to throw that word in because you said I was quite eloquent. But it was all these emotions just sitting there in the car park and me just watching as people tried to sift through because they're being fed so much stuff at the moment. And one of the biggest things I tell people is to cleanse and what you actually, and be very aware of what you ingest, not just through your mouth, but through your eyes and through your ears, even more so at the moment. And
We lost you there.
Very stern.
We lost you. I was waiting for you to return. Be very careful what you ingest, and then it sort of cut out.
Yeah, be very careful what you ingest, not just through your mouth, but through your ears and through your eyes. Otherwise, it will turn to shit.
Yeah, good one.
Sorry.
No, don't be. Like that's you took my
Had to.
So what can we do?
Mate, it's actually like, yeah, sure. I've been in lots of situations in life. I was a military officer for 17 years, and I've fought in combat. I've been, running the business and the charity that we have now for 10 years. So I've been from battlefields to boardrooms, and in all the leadership stuff I've done, I've come up with a distinct understanding that when we initially look at something, it might look simple, but if we dig a little bit deeper, we're going to find it gets quite complex pretty quick. But if we then surrender to the complexity, we'll actually find simplicity on the other side. So what do I mean? Who do we believe? What's been told? Do I believe Koshy on the bloody mainstream media or whoever it is? It doesn't matter. And all this fear mongering that's going on. Do I believe any of that, or do I just stop? Do I pause and go back to basics? And that's what I really see we're lacking at the moment. People are calling for social isolation, but that doesn't mean to isolate yourself. Pick up the phone, do things like, man, you're an awesome example of someone who, when he sees something that needs to be done and knows that he can do something about it, does it. That's what I love about you, and that's why I'll always support whatever you want to do, as long as it aligns with me, obviously. But that's the big thing. We can still communicate. I was just round at a friend's house who had a baby 2 weeks ago. I didn't go around initially because, you know, families and everything like this, but I took a meal round for them to just have, and so they don't have to cook. Just the things that everyone knows. Go back to basics. We've got a philosophy at the organisation that we're part of is the Resilient Leaders Foundation, and our philosophy is that every situation on the globe, every issue on the globe can be solved at a community level within a global context. And that means we've got to talk to each other. We've actually got to respect and have reverence for each other. So go back to basics and just go, where am I? Where do I want to go? What's my next step? And how do I take that next step with reverence and respect? And literally life will pan out. You know, there's still a lot of first world problems, even with whatever the acronym for this virus is now called.
The stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Any tips for people or any actual practical take homes for them this evening or anything like that?
Totally. If you haven't started the inner journey, then it's possibly a good time to do that, because fear cuts off the frontal lobe, which is your decision making and rational mind. So, and you know, you're one of the experts at this. It engages the sympathetic nervous system. So people are already exhausted. So when you're already exhausted, your ability to emotionally regulate decreases significantly. And when people are in fear, they'll generally act in either anger or sadness or shame. And so becoming emotionally literate is a long-term thing, because you don't just necessarily become emotionally literate overnight. Believe me, I thought there was 4 emotions in the military: fired up, pissed off, shattered, and numb, none of which I found out were emotions. So, you know, that stuffed me. But, you know, my journey back to into emotional literacy and then further on to emotional intimacy was, you know, it took me years to do it. It's been 10 years in the making. So, but I recommend that you get used to understanding emotions. Impulse gap action is one of the easiest things to do. You have an impulse to act, just stop, just take a breath and just pause and just ask yourself the question: do I actually need to do anything, or can I just stand here? Or what is the appropriate action for me to do? Go back to those 3 questions. Where am I? Where do I want to go? What's my next step? You can't ask those questions if you're in the emotion and you're reacting. So, you know, in my warrior work, warrior is an archetype that we have within us. We say, you never act in emotion, you act from emotion, the message that we're getting. Now, funnily enough, anger's message is all about change. And there's a shed tin of anger. That's a polite way of me saying shit tin.
Oh, no, go for it. Come on.
Do you like it? I like shed tin. I like the shed.
Just say what you mean. I told you talk to the average guy, and then you mincing your words on me.
Oh, no, don't worry about that. But the big thing is that there's a shed tin of anger out there. I still like it, man. It's still rich. Yeah. I'll warm up. But out there, you know, there's so much anger, and damn well should be, because of, you know, look at the situation that we've currently got on the streets at the moment in a multitude of facets. Young people are really pissed off at school. Good. Get pissed off at school. Get fucked off at your fucking teacher. But do it with reverence and respect, and don't do it in the emotion. Go, right, I'm really pissed off. Why? I don't feel heard. If you don't feel heard, stop. There's only one person at the moment not listening, and that's you. And that's the start. You know, we start listening to ourselves internally, and then with reverence and respect, acting. So go up to the teacher and approach, and realize you might have had a bit of a collateral damage because you're an asshole beforehand towards the teacher. So they're probably not necessarily going to initially respond. But if you open up knowing your shit, then there's all more probability. It's the same in the workplace. Own your shit. At the moment, people are cancelling events left, right, and centre. And again, someone told me today, they're doing the responsible thing. I said, do you understand the etymology of the word responsible? Do you understand the genesis, or where the word responsible comes from? It comes from the ability to respond. In other words, I control three things in my life: my thoughts, my words, my deeds. And if I step outside those thoughts, words, and deeds, I can't control it. So therefore, I have no ability to respond. I have only the ability to respond to my thoughts, my words, my deeds, and make them, as Don Miguel Ruiz in his Four Agreements book says, make my word impeccable. So be impeccable to my word. So in this moment, make sure I'm doing exactly what I need to do, and being impeccable in that. And don't act. If I'm acting in emotion, I'm not being impeccable to my word, because I will loose an arrow, or I'll draw a sword on someone, and I'll slay some poor bugger, and it'll be collateral damage. And then I'll go, fuck, and then I'll have to go reel back and because I've got guilt and shame now, if I own my shit in the first place, and then I'll have to, sort that shit out. So just throw a gap between the impulse to act and any action that you're wanting to take. And then what happens is you turn a reaction into a response. That would be like, in the moment, if you're not going to do anything else, that would probably get you your biggest thing. But the other one is to, if you haven't started already, start the inner journey. Answer the big questions in life, because one of the reasons why we've got to where we've got to in society is people have forgotten how to ask questions. People don't critically think. They actually believe Woolworths when they see fresh food people and don't realise that that's a fucking marketing slogan. Just do some research, just ask a few questions. And I know that generally in society, people don't like it when you ask questions, because where's this quote? There's this awesome dude. Here it is. I love this. This guy called Manly P. Hall. And if you haven't read Secret Teachings of All the Ages, it's a pretty awesome book. Mind you, it's about that thick. So he says, for most people, responsibility must be avoided at all costs because it interferes with the smooth passing of a useless life.
The smooth passing of a useless life. Yeah, right.
And it's my point. The only responsibility that can move us forward in some form of semblance of evolution and growth is personal responsibility. We've got an event, the Young Warrior, which is a rite of passage for young people, and people are asking us, are we cancelling it in April? No. Well, are you doing the responsible thing? I am responding within my ability. Yes. Why? Because we ensure everyone has as much information as possible. Secondly, we do an incredible amount of work to ensure the standard is right up top. But more importantly, right now, young people in a world which has got so much dynamicism, catastrophe, chaos, fear, they need something. They need something and someone to back them. And so if that's what I believe, fuck no, I'm not going to cancel that event. If you choose not to bring your child to the event, then I can honor and respect that because you're making a choice. Yeah. But I'm not going to cancel that event because someone's told me that there could be a possibility of something on the horizon. So does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's what I feel. Personal responsibility is a huge one. If you fuck up at work, put your hand up. If you say something to your partner which is not in reverence and respect, then put your hand up. And take ownership of that stuff. And then, if you need to, so I said to Penny today, I said, gorgeous, what I saw today, your behavior, not you, it's not her behavior, two massive distinction. But what I saw was a person not acting in respect to someone who you love and loves you. And that's a violin teacher. And I said that I cannot condone that. I do not agree with that. And so I called her on it and she got all grumpy. Good, get grumpy. Because in essence, she's grumpy at herself. Yeah. But funny enough, dinner was beautiful because dinner was, she had gone through, we didn't labor the fact, but the gift needed to be presented to her. And that gift was own your shit and don't try and, give me some lame ass excuse or whatever. Own your shit. Now, if that's me, she's got every right to call my ass on not owning my shit. And then I got to sit there with my ass in the bloody chair, and I got to put my hand up and say, yeah, right, yeah, I got it. And she does it, because she's got the girl, she's got kahunas. She's got the balls to actually do it, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. Going back a fair way there, you talked about knowing where you're going.
Because I was on a rant.
No, it's good. I'll just let you go. I was just thinking of good questions to keep you going. I was just trying to find the gold to keep you, just unlock the key, and then I did this for me to learn as well and just hang out with cool people because, potentially it's not happening too much. So going back to where you'd like to go in these times, there's a lot of focus and that primal instinct and that survival mode of like, whether I'm going to get toilet paper when I go to Woolies tomorrow morning or whatever, where am I going to get it? From the council toilets down the beach, the old one ply. It's a bit rough, but she'll be right.
Oh, right.
I think you felt that then, didn't you?
It's hurting already. And I'm a fan of quilt and 3-ply. You've been in my house. I only have quilt and 3-ply in the house.
It was soft, yeah.
It says love your bum.
Yeah.
I believe in marketing.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. Some tips or advice or a chat around where are we going? Because obviously, it's probably a day, maybe 24 hours ahead that we're thinking at the moment. There's not too much forward planning. There's more forward cancellation. So, how can we work on, if we've got our shit together, we're owning our shit either in the moment or retrospectively, usually retrospectively for yours truly. Where to from here?
I'm actually really excited. Like, I kid you not, I'm actually really, really excited about where we're sitting. And funnily enough, fear and excitement live in the same part of your body. Everyone knows this. They just haven't realized it. It's called butterflies in the stomach. And if you ever seen a young child on the top of a 3 meter high rock ledge, just about to jump into a rock pool, you'll see it. They'll dance between fear and excitement. Yes, no, yes, no. Or if you've ever stood at the bloody altar and waited for your wife to be to walk down the aisle, you go through that fear, excitement. They live in the same part of the body. So one of the things is to when we understand fear, we can actually harness it instead of slaying it, like a lot of people say. You actually harness it because it's got a lot of true power there. But where to from here is a massive one. I think what's going to happen, well, for me it is, and that is there's going to be a turn into community. And I really think that what's going to happen is people are starting to, we need to have this point where the pain of the present moment must exceed any perceived pain change may bring for us to shift. And that's as an individual who's in trauma and depression so bad that, they've locked down, they're not talking to their wife, they're, just about to be on a divorce, everything's fallen apart in their life, they're not putting their hand up. The pain of the present moment has to exceed any perceived pain that me putting my hand up will bring me for me to put my hand up. And that happens in an individual, in a family, in a community or a society or even a nation. So we've hit that point. I get a real sense that as a community, we're hitting this point, and people are starting to ask questions, not necessarily the right question, but this is where leaders step up. The leader's biggest tool is the question, and then space, then silence, shut up. Because how often do you hear a person ask a question and then like 30 seconds, not even that, they leave no space for that question to be answered. So all they're doing is they're pushing or projecting their ideas onto someone else. Leaders ask questions. So I'm working with some AFL players at the moment, and in the leadership role that they are in, they're going, well, there's a lot of change and turbulence within the AFL and all sporting codes at the moment. There's a lot of if, buts, and maybes. So my question to them is, well, what's the role of the leadership group? And they rattled off a whole heap of stuff to me. And I said, so is that just when you're playing footy? Or is it moments like this? And the point of consensus is, come September, whichever team can negotiate the next few months with a bond of all their team, they'll be there in September. And it's the same with us. And funny enough, September is pretty much, when everyone's forecasting things will, ease off. I don't know how, but anyway, I don't see why it would last that long. But the point being, if we have, people in our communities, like what you're doing with Grab Life by the Balls, man, just see how it's popping up all over. It's all over the country now. And people are coming together. Don't be afraid to come together. There's this is the big thing. Just be responsible, be respectful to people and their wishes, because some people won't want to shake your buddy. Well, I know you get groped a lot, mate, because I see it on buddy Facebook all the time. Some people might not want to grope you anymore, but they might want to do a virtual grope or an air grope or whatever. I don't know, whatever.
Without the body contact, mate, they might just prefer grabbing my jeans and my shorts. So it might be the new thing.
This is true. And until there's a virus which they can catch off that. But
hi, Catherine. I hope you're watching, honey.
I went to Cairns on the week I was telling you, and this is the thing, we've been so conditioned we don't even realise it. And all the urinals in the airport, all I was hearing or watching and seeing was how STDs and sexually transmitted, is it tautology? STDs and all the other things are on the increase in Cairns. So if it's not coronavirus, it's going to be an STD or something else is going to get me. And the issue is, the old person in the Department of Health is just believing they're doing society a service by putting these adverts up everywhere. We don't realise that the person who's standing at the urinal is now being affected by Channel 9 News, by that brochure, by this, that, and the other, by the front page of the newspaper. All that they're getting is bombarded by these negative messages about society. The tipping point's happening. I really get a sense that the tipping point is happening, and people are starting to ask questions. So, there's the famous Invictus poem by William Henley. And the last couple of lines, which everyone quotes, well, not everyone, but a lot of people, I am the master of my soul, master of my fate, captain of my soul. But they forget the whole first, two bloody verses, which are all about pain and anguish but moving through it with honor, moving through it with reverence and respect, to come to a place where, in essence, the thing that I control is my thoughts, my words, my deeds. It's in essence what he said, over 100 years ago. And so how do we do that? And the New Age movement's famous for saying, I'm the creator of my own reality. Well, actually now science and neuroscience is actually demonstrating that as well. So how am I the creator of my reality? How I view a situation, be that positive, negative, or neutral, reflects how I interact with the situation. So it's my choice whether or not I choose to see this situation positively, negatively, or neutrally. And previously, am I bringing the past in to judge this situation, to judge my child by previous behaviour in this moment, find out, hold on, I've actually got that judgment wrong because they weren't trying to do that. So often we judge people by their actions, not by their and we judge ourselves by our intention. So we say, oh, no, I didn't mean that. But throw the bloody thing around and we'll judge the other person by their actions instead of, well, they didn't actually mean it either. So in this moment, we can actually turn around our reality and we can start going, right, what out there at the moment, what challenges, adversities, or opportunities can we see? And which way do I want to see it? And so possibly what this is asking us to have a look at is, well, like community orientation activities such as market gardens, community gardens, community meetups like you do, actually looking after each other is something we've done for eons. Matter of fact, if you really look back at the Australian myth, whilst a lot of it has been isolationist, i.e., the stockman and the swagman, etc., in isolation in the outback, there's a huge amount of myth which has all been about the collegiate, about the team approach, about being there for a mateship, bonding. So there's a incredible opportunity right now for us to shift it and bring it back to, not necessarily grabbing by the balls, but certainly, buddy, making sure that, how you're feeling, how's it been traveling lately, etc. What's been going on in your life. So things like what you're doing and what you're bringing with Grab Life by the Balls, that type of shit, it is already, and yourself, it's already skyrocketing the amount of different people that are doing stuff like that, which shows you the need that's there and the desire, not only the need, but the desire to actually do something about it.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say?
You're a legend.
Takes one to know one.
Mutually stroking society. The other thing is, have you ever watched Happy Gilmore?
Just a couple of times.
I know. I introduced the girls to it the other day, and I have to admit I was so sad to think that I laughed so heavily like 20 years ago. It changed. It really changed. But anyway, there's a cool point about Happy Gilmore, and that is find your happy place. Like, so often. You went visual, didn't you?
Oh, I just thought it was awesome. I was like, just cutting through the bullshit. Just go to your happy place, Happy Gilmore.
You do. Yeah, man. Like, if you don't play golf, don't worry about it. Just the more time you spend in your happy place, then the more that you will reflect that happiness. I mean, it might seem like a bit weird to say it, but the gateway through now is, and I've had so many conversations in the last week about it with people. Gratitude is the thing which is missing so much. Without gratitude, you can't open the door of wonder. And like, wonder's that thing which allows you to walk into a situation and go, I wonder what's going to happen. It brings awe up into us. It brings the sense of intrigue with mystery and the salivation of what's actually going to happen today, and it's like, you got you're playing sport and whatever, sport you want to play, and you got your back against the wall, but there's something there, there's this opportunity. It's like coming out on the final quarter, you're about 10, 15 points down, but that it can unfold in your favor. How does that work? Or it's like, I know you play a lot of cricket or have played a lot of cricket, and, you're down in the innings. Well, all of a sudden there's an opportunity there, especially for the lower order batsman, to step up and wonder what's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's just not on the sporting field. It's also at work. It's like, what situation, how's this going to turn out? Because in essence, no one really knows. But if I bring through the gateway of gratitude, I can go back to that wonder. And it does start with love. Like, we bag the crap out of the 4-letter word, and I use a lot of other 4-letter words. But the thing is, you look at love, and how often do blokes specifically say it during any given day? But you actually feel the vibration of it. If you said the word fuck, and then you put it on a stereograph, and then you put love on it, you'll actually get a bulbous picture of love, and you'll get a spike with fuck. And they do actually, the vibrations of those words hold. And I've actually done studies with this. We'll cut an apple in half and this is a great thing you can do with kids. Cut an apple in half. You done this one?
We did it with rice in the office. The office was obviously too happy it didn't work. We had to put it in the back part where we vent. That's when it worked. Otherwise, it was like there for like 3 weeks. It didn't work.
Yeah. Well, using the apple gives you, like, within 36 hours, we got great results. And you put an apple at one side that everyone put praise, love, and gratitude in, and right up the other end of the counter, put one with hate in it. And so everyone went ballistic at that. And I kid you not, within 12 hours, there was a distinct difference. Within 36 hours, we could stop the experiment because the two were dramatically different. Mm. So if you want to go into the science of this, go to Dr. Emoto, I think it is, from who's done a lot of research into water, etc., in Japan. So the science is there to back it up. And it might sound airy and fluffy, but actually it takes big kahunas, especially for blokes, to turn around there, sit there and actually fess up to loving someone. I tell my mates all the time, I love them. And I don't just say that. Like, I don't use that word flippantly. I don't use it willy-nilly. If I'm saying that word, I mean it. And my daughters, every single day, my mission in life was that if I die, they know that I love them. And I'm quite confident that I've given that a big tick if I die tomorrow, tonight, whenever. Coronavirus, die of toilet paper exposure.
Rough toilet paper.
Nothing worse.
I could take that a few places.
I could too.
Anything else that you want to add? I think we've covered quite a few things there. I think that's been exceptional, mate.
Yeah, happy place. And if you haven't started, meditation is a really good thing to do. Figure out what it is, and you don't have to be tree hugging. Although hugging trees is pretty cool. When I was in the military and heard about meditation, I thought it was a bunch of tree hugging puffs that did it, and that's where my headspace was back then. Meditation has been a mainstay of my life now, and it's the thing which I can negotiate a precipice. I can negotiate a razor's knife edge now, and walking through, and choose to engage my environment as opposed to be buffeted by it. And the reason I can do that is because I've done the inner work. You don't just become opening batsman like to a bloody pace bowler overnight. It's got to take time in the nets. You got to go and you got to practice. You got to practice and practice. And it's exactly the same. To work this thing. When I say control your thoughts, your words, your deeds, I could write a thesis on that, just one statement, because how often do we actually act impulsively or out of control? How often do our words just slip out of our mouth? Or how often, do our thoughts, in 60 to 80,000 thoughts in any given day by an average adult, how many are going in the direction we want compared to the direction we don't want? So, take words, for instance. I listen to what I say more than anyone else in the world. Why? Predominantly because I'm the only person in every single bloody conversation in my life. However, added to that, it means that I'm often speaking words, especially in the roles that I fill in life now, as elder, as facilitator, or as a dad, or whatever. I'm speaking stuff that I need to hear. And so, I've got to make sure that my words resonate with my heart space. If they don't, then I'm out of alignment, and that's out of integrity. And therefore, there's some more inner work for me to do. Probably the first thing I'd have to do is let go of the shame and guilt to acknowledge the fact that I'm out of alignment. And then I move through that so much quicker nowadays, and often don't have it because I'm used to that work now. So meditation has been a really big key. And I go back to that point about the inner journey. You can only become the master of your realities when you stop, you find a happy place, sit in gratitude, understand a bit about how the mind works, and get into meditation, and then become emotionally literate. Basically, we've summed up that whole conversation in that short statement.
Awesome.
Without swear words too. That was very clean.
Fucking bullshit. The best place to find you guys, Facebook and those sorts of places, resilient.
Yeah. You can befriend me on Facebook. That means I then have friends, which is really cool because I'm all in for external recognition nowadays. Yeah. We run an organisation called Resilient Leaders Foundation. You can find that on Facebook or on the web. ResilientLeadersFoundation.org is the website. You won't find me this weekend. I'm heading bush on my new men's program, 4-day men's bush experience. So if you hear this tonight, actually booking's closed tonight. But if you hear this and you actually just say that you heard through Sammy Parker it, then tell me it, and I'll allow a conversation. If you really want to transcend the fight in life, and you're a bloke and you want to take yourself to the next level, then it might be for you. It might not, but I have to tell you that it will be the most disruptive program you've ever done, because that's my job, to help people disrupt the way they've been acting because it only got them to where they've got. So that's basically me in a nutshell.
Awesome, mate. Really appreciate you staying up past your bedtime. I'm glad you didn't fall asleep.
Yeah, mate, that's bloody hard, eh?
And my claim to fame now is that I've been on the first YouTube live with you. So that's, I'll take that with me.
I might have to make this a thing.
They're absolutely epic as always. Jeez, fantastic.
Epicness personified. That's the hashtag we need to start putting around.
Yeah, I was trying to look for an image to share, and I noticed that I tagged you in Jacko's video of his elbow upright.
I know.
I know what that means. Don't worry about it otherwise. Awesome to have you on. Tomorrow night, guys, for the guys that are still on there, there's a couple of you, there's a few of you. We've got Jason Partington from Making Meditation Mainstream. So probably another meditation and a good chat. He's a pretty chilled out kind of dude as well. He's a good fella. So that'll be another great conversation. It'll definitely
awesome guy.
And the vibe. So yeah, mate, really appreciate you coming on. Enjoy going bush. Yeah, I think I'm complete. You got anything to say?
I remembered it. Yeah. I'm complete.
Cool. All right. Well, righto, guys. We'll see you next tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Barring any technical difficulties. Thanks, guys. See ya.